Seems to be getting louder now. Good morning. My name is Daniel Diaz. I am with the UCLA History Geography Project. And prior to that, I was a social studies teacher for 13 years. Taught at an LAUSD at Roosevelt High School and in Pico Rivera at Rancho High School, which is the first district in Southern California to have an ethnic studies graduation requirement. So my colleague Emma, who's working on this technical issue, is the director of the UCLA History and Geography Project, and she has been in this position for, I don't want to misspeak, 15 years. And prior to that?
Oh, prior to that I was a classroom teacher in Santa Monica. It's that noise. I was getting help.
Oh, the buzz or the buzz?
The
The speakers, can we just turn the speakers on?
You don't want the mic though.
Not if we could get rid of that noise. Okay, did you introduce yourself?
Yes. I just
Okay, and then in the room we also have Phyllis and Rachel from our Berkeley side. Go one way. Yay. See, you guys got more clap than I did. And Emily Schell from the International Studies Project at San Diego State. All right.
Yeah. Okay, great. So welcome to this presentation on ethnic studies. We are going to kick things off with an inclusion. An inclusion is a sort of like a warm-up, but it's a warm-up to build community. Sort of maybe think about the things that you do on the first day of class, whether you're a professor or a K-12 teacher. So we're going to do an inclusion called Like Me. And I have my list of questions. So it's a very simple concept. I'm going to read a statement, and if the statement pertains to you, then you simply stand up. And then the idea is to look around and see who else is standing at that and relates to that statement, and then you sort of see who's like me in that sense. Sit down and we'll repeat the process. Does that make sense? Great. Okay, so the first one is, please stand if you are a teacher. Great. Take a second, look around. See, we have a majority of teachers in here. Wave hi if you recognize somebody, and then go ahead and have a seat. Eyes, great. Please stand if you are an administrator or district personnel. Administrator or district personnel. Some district folks in here. Administrators, welcome. Thank you. And please stand if you are in higher ed, professor, or something to that extent. Excellent. Thank you. Okay, the first time I did this, I had like 20 things, and it was a workout. So I'm editing as I go, because I don't, it's early in the morning. So please stand if the majority of your students are non-white. Okay, move around the room, and you notice that it's the majority of the room. So thank you. Please stand if your district has a large English language learner or EL population. Can we just stay? Thank you. Okay. Okay, I have two more. Please stand if the community that you work in has a history that's either connected to a labor movement or some sort of social movement. The community you work in has a history connected to labor or social movement. Yeah. Gentleman with the glasses, the brown. Would you mind telling us what? Yes, sir. You. Would you mind telling us what movement your community is involved with in terms of historical labor movements or social movements?
It's Chicano. It's downtown Los Angeles.
Okay. To be like the Chicano movement? Yeah. Great. Excellent. We're going to come back to this, the reason why I asked this question during this presentation, but that's an important piece. Final question. Please stand if your school or district offers an ethnic studies class. This is for our teachers and instructors.
Well, I guess. All right.
A little less than half. Excellent. Great. Okay.
How about if they have more than one class? Is there anyone here that has more than one class? They're offering more than one class? All right.
Ethnic studies classes.
Multiple ethnic
We
studies.
are, because of the Chicano lit class, yeah.
Okay. Santa Monica Malibu says yes. LAUSD.
Right, yeah.
San Bernardino City. I see Baldwin Park folks. Baldwin Park
Baldwin
High
Park.
School. Anaheim Union. Which one? Value Schools. Very nice.
Great.
Did I get everyone?
So,
You're not Baldwin Park.
Baldwin Park.
Oh, sorry. Long Beach. Good job.
Great, thank you. So we have some objectives.
But before we start with the objectives, we want to just let you know that the purpose of the conference is to get us into the framework, right? To get us understanding what's in the framework. So it doesn't look like traditional, maybe professional learning. We're going to spend some time actually looking at some of the pieces. So sometimes people come, like I'm part of the equity and access session as well, and our CD administrator always says, this looks a little bit different from other workshops where you might be getting some strategies or so forth, although we have a little bit of a strategy. Most of the focus is going to be on, let's look at those sections, okay? And we always run out of time.
Yes.
And we keep cutting stuff. And last time I was like, we have to cut something. And he's like, I like all our parts. So we want to engage you in conversation because the last session we were in Sacramento last week, and we had such a good conversation about teaching ethnic studies. And so that really is our goal. Even as we have these objectives, that we can have a good conversation with the people around you, even if we can't do it as maybe always as a whole room.
Yeah. So these are more like hopefuls, right? Things that we hopefully address all of this, but we might not, depending on what happens today in our conversation. So take a minute and look over those objectives. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Yes.
Take notes
Oh,
on it.
the question is
the
this
PowerPoint
presentation online?
The PowerPoint?
They're all
Yeah.
in that
You could
Dropbox.
download
You
it?
can download
Okay, yeah.
it. You got a link to a box.
Oh, the box. Okay.
Yeah, and it's in there. It might be slightly different because we keep tweaking,
That's
because
okay.
we're trying to make good use of an hour, which is not a lot of time. All right, so we start with this graph. Two graphs, actually. And I would ask you, look at the graph and jot down a couple of observations you might make. Okay. Look at the graph. If you need to stand up, I know folks in the back are squinting. I can see you. If you need to stand up, look at the graph. What observations might you make? Okay. Okay, some observations, no conversation. Yeah, I'm going to give you time for conversation in a second. Okay, everybody have at least two observations they've made?
No.
You're good, Darlene?
Yep.
All right. Some more demographic data for you. Okay, 60 languages other than English. Most of this comes from the Equity and Access chapter in the framework. More than 60 languages are spoken other than English are spoken in California. Other pieces to think about, more than 1 in 5 of California's children and adolescents live in poverty. And if you know what that number is in terms of poverty, the other piece that the last one, 2014, 2015, 58% of students in California, we know the number is significantly higher in LA County, right? It looks more like 68% in LA County. Eligible for free and reduced lunch, another marker of poverty. And then up and above, more than 1 in 5 of California's children and adolescents live in poverty. So I'm giving you some data, two kinds of data. Thinking about a paired discussion. To think through that data, more importantly, I gave you data. What data do you have? How similar or different is this from your student population? And what other data might you need to understand your student population? Okay, so some things that we're only going to have Daniel says 3 minutes. Oh, you see that timer up there? We're going to try for 3 minutes to have a conversation around this chart and these questions. Okay? I'm going to also ask you to try to talk to someone you didn't come in this room with. Okay? Might be interesting. You might meet some people, right? Okay, so 3 minutes, folks. If you don't have a card, share a current or past student that might identify with this group. So look at who's on your card. Student who might identify with this group. Okay, so take a minute. Yes, we'll get you right there. Everyone has a student in their head? Yeah? Okay, so what I'm going to ask you to do is introduce yourself and discuss what are some individual needs that might be important, not to the whole group. You're going to introduce yourself. We at one point had drinks today. But introduce yourself to someone you didn't walk in the room with. So talk about that. Talk about the student that's in your mind. All right? We're going to do this. We have a timer. 2 minutes. And thank you for engaging that conversation. Hopefully you met someone super nice around you, because you're going to talk to them again. They're super nice. Just want to introduce ourselves, starting with.
I'm Christine Allen. I'm the manager of the Curriculum Frameworks Unit at the California Department of Education and former 10th grade world history teacher.
Hello everyone, I'm Stephanie Enriquez. I'm from the Ventura County Office of Education. I'm the History, Social Science, ELD Content Specialist. Whew. And I'm so excited that you all are here with us today.
And I'm Emma Hipólita. I direct the history project at UCLA. So for today, we're going to work on, Kristen usually says, I'm going to say it for you, Kristen. Kristen said this is PD, it's a little different from what you're used to, right? We're used to some strategies. The point of the conference is to get us into the framework, so that's how we have it structured. We also, like, when we were planning this in December, had these visions of like of a room with tables, and people are going to around the table, we're going to rotate. We've still managed to keep a lot of the movement pieces in the presentation, but we're going to need your help. So this is our, and it's worked. We've been in like a room half the size with people standing along the back, right? And we've still managed to do it, so it's going to work. This is our purpose then, some information about Chapter 20, Access and Equity in the History Social Science Framework, an opportunity to read a portion, and hopefully time to address questions. We've always run out to get to the third part, but hopefully there's opportunity for some questions. So to start, Stephanie's going to start with an activity.
Thank you. All right, so this is kind of to get our thinking and our brains moving and thinking. So this is called FISC 2-5. So it's a quick formative assessment, very quick, that you could do. So 5, if you strongly agree with the statement that is going to be projected. 4, if you're like, yeah, I agree. No 3, because it can't be neutral. 2, like, nah, that can't be right. And 1, like, no, I definitely disagree. Okay, so that's FISC 5. So the first statement is, go ahead and read to yourself. Nearly 30% of our students qualify for free or reduced price lunches as an indicator of poverty.
4, 5, strongly.
Okay? 4, 5, you say yes.
Oh, are we stuck on
that's
that?
right. 4, I agree. 2, no, I think it's higher or lower. 1, no, I definitely know it's either higher or lower. Okay, so it's actually 58%. So, and know that this is for the state of California. So some districts may be higher or lower, depending on where you are in California, right? So it's actually 58%. More than 60 languages are spoken in California. So, yes, I agree, or no. Yes. So more than 60 languages are spoken in California. 3 teachers have the responsibility to provide an alternate text if the text is too complex.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so this is where in the framework, it's expected and hoped, and the goal is to have students have access to the language-rich text of the grade level, or of the primary source. So you might be providing the added support and scaffold for our students to access the content. So we really want to try to hold on to the original text with the language that is actually embedded. Achievement gap exists but do not persist. It does persist, yes, it does persist. And part of that too is that why we're all here is for the access and equity in high quality instruction, high quality curriculum, right? Kind of reflective of the third statement, and ensuring that all students have the ability to access the content at a high, rich grade level that they